And so now what we're going to do today is we're going to call a couple contractors and we're going to see if we can line them up to go walk through the property so we can get some firm numbers on the rehab estimates. Because
Hello, this is Devon.
Hey, Devon. My name is Blaze. My partner Bill just gave you a call. Is now a good time to talk?
Yeah, this is good.
Perfect. So we are working in Columbia right now, trying to get a house under contract for a flip. And your name was given to us by the current owner of the property. Her name is Connie. We went to it. We had made an offer on it, pretty much sight unseen. Came down there, took a look at it, and it looked like a bigger project than we had initially thought. So we were going back and forth. We had settled on a price, but I said I wanted to get a contractor out there to take a look at it and give us an estimation of what they thought it would take to really finalize this project to make sure that everybody involved is making some money on it. So
Okay.
I don't know what your availability looks like, but is that, first of all, is that something that you even are interested in doing? Have you done flips before? Have you worked with investors?
I have not worked with investors. I have done a few different flips
Okay.
for private individuals, but it is not really something I do anymore. I've scaled back, and so I do smaller type projects, but I don't tackle anything large like that. If you're talking about a full-scale remodel kind of thing.
Yeah, it's full-scale remodel. It's missing floors, had some water damage. So if that's not in your wheelhouse, no worries at all.
No, that's not. So
Hey, is there anybody that you would recommend?
there is one guy that I would typically recommend, but he has retired from it in this last few months, so he's not doing it anymore. So.
All right, sir. Well, thank you so much for your help anyways.
All right. Yes, sir. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Bye. Struck out, but at least we got one, and hopefully he can help us out. All right, I just talked to Devin, and he's a no-go.
why?
So he said that well, first of all, I explained the job, like the scope of it, and he said he doesn't do that anymore. He's just doing smaller projects now, focusing more on being a handyman and not on doing that.
Okay, I'm sure you didn't, but next time ask him if he recommends anybody who is doing that.
Funny enough, I actually did.
Okay.
So I talked to him. I said, do you recommend anybody else? And he said that he had one guy that he would highly recommend, but that he no longer does this. He had just retired like 2 months ago.
So the guy that he recommends.
The guy he recommends, like the only person he would recommend in the area, just retired.
I'd say the interesting thing that I just heard is he said that was the only guy that he recommends in the area. Did you say who do you not recommend? Or ask him about the two other people that we had on the list?
I did not.
Okay, good teaching point here.
Okay.
So I might go on a soapbox for a second. One thing that I did when I was in Pensacola is I started building a list of contractors to work with and then contractors not to work with. So just as important as like who do you know that would be good at this, also who would you not work with? Now, the interesting thing with this guy is we don't know which list he falls on.
Totally.
However, if we can start building a tree of who this person would work with and who they won't. So he said that's the only guy that I would work with, which would trigger me to say, well, who wouldn't you work with?
Yep.
And then I bet he starts, especially if he's out of the business, just starts spitting fire against all these people that have screwed things up and stuff like that.
Totally.
So then you can create like this blacklist of people that you wouldn't work with. So then what's interesting, as you go on in your career, if you could build this list big enough, then when you have somebody who you call that's a referral from, I don't know, another investor who's like, oh yeah, and you say, hey, who would you work with? And it's like 4 people on the blacklist.
Yep.
You're immediately like, don't work with this person. Because a lot of times investors will throw you like their 3rd string or 4th string, or they're not going to give you their best contractors, you know?
Yeah.
Who is the electrician? Like the electrician, who do they like to go behind that does or cabinets? So they put in, there's an electrician will wire, right? Then they'll put in cabinets, and then they'll come in and do finish electrical. And they'll know the people that suck at carpentry and that are really good that they love to go behind or in front of. Same thing with the plumbers and the tile people. They all know, like, this is somebody I don't ever want to work with. If that's the person doing your tile, I am not interested in being involved. Build a good list, build a bad list, like build a black list. But right now, we're just building 2 lists.
Yep.
And so next to every person's name, say who put them on that list.
Okay.
And so now, if that makes sense, in the very beginning, we're just gonna have a small short list.
Yep.
And now, next time we call somebody and they're like, oh yeah, I would definitely work with this person. And then we start working with people, they're like, these are good people.
Yep.
But if they do horrible work, we might have to just take our list and go like this.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense.
Okay, so I think this is really important, especially for you. When you're watching this, you start building your list out. Whether it's your good list and your naughty list. It's Christmas time right now, so you got the good list and you got the naughty list, and start building that out and creating that and really track it. Like if you build a CRM of both of those, next thing you know, you're just gonna have tons and tons of contractors. Always ask if somebody's doing a good job. Who would you recommend from HVAC, electrical, plumbing, roofing, foundation work, carpentry, general contractors, all these things? Just ask them to give you their Rolodex of people and put them on the good list. And then same thing, if somebody screws you over, like the whole time start building out their referrals, and then once they do a bad job, put them on the naughty list, never call them again, and then that'll start building out the people you don't want to work with, just as important as those that you do. So hopefully you guys got some value out of this. If you did, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, be notified of our next videos. We'll see you.